Hey, Shalom, Yasharala, Kadash Shalom, and yeah, it's that kind of you. Kadash Shalom, Yabaraka Kami, Habashama Shakal Shash, your brother Kudzaya Banya Shala, also known as Isaiah Shala, from Worm, the villain worlds. Call me what you want. Just don't call me a teacher of breaking the Torah, baby. Let me get this set up real quick. There we go. Need me a keep. Let's get this. So, I'm gonna try not to do too long. Uh, I have this time to be able to go over, so I'm very grateful. Let's get it. New moon, baby. For those of you who don't know, I am a Yilani Yasharala, and today is Hadash. All right, so today is new moon. All right. I just want to read this real quick for a couple of Masfakaya, a couple of friends of the family. All right, and pray for the Benathian. They're getting over an illness. They had a running issue. All right, the Yalad and the girls had a running issue, so they're getting over that. Actually, staying, with them staying separated, what I'm saying. I'm very grateful for the healing. So pray for healing for the Yalad and for the babies, and pray for me. I pray for you. Just remind me. So let's get into it real quick. We're gonna look at starting off. All right, we gotta do all things. Yahweh Bashem Mashal Shai. So all things we're gonna say, I'm so very grateful. Yahweh, the water, thank you, Father, you gave us this day. Please remove my sins. I'll call Abiyam Katayam and all fathers their sins. I'll call Amiyam Katayam and all mothers their sins. I'll call Katayam, call Yashala Kalapa'aim, all the sins of all the children of Israel throughout all time. I'll call Katayam, call Aratzah, call Aratzah, and all the sins of people throughout the world. That your name may be glorified. Please allow us to learn today and allow us petition to have a portion of your spirit so that we can have some better understanding. All right, so let's get it. I want to start with Amos. All right, you can hear me okay? All right, put a 7 in the room. All right. If you can hear me okay, put a 7 in the room. I greatly appreciate that. Let me see that the audio is all right. All right. And let's tilt that down just a little bit. All right. Put a 7 in the room if you can. If you're just listening for your listening pleasure, I'm be screen sharing, but I'm also going to be showing a lot of things. I'm going to be going back and forth between the audio, and because I don't want any issues, any issues with the sound, I'm going to turn it off. And let me share that real quick. I do not own the rights to the music, so let me go ahead and say that very plainly, and very clearly. 7. All right, got that. All praise. Appreciate that. Yahweh Shemar al Afah. Yahweh Shemar al Afah. All right. So I don't own the rights to any of this music or anything like that. So let me go ahead and share what we were listening to. All right, and then you can check that out. All right, psychedelic Turkish jazz is the vibe. All right, psychedelic Turkish jazz. All right, I'm gonna put that to about right there. That should be good. All right, that should be comfortable. If that's comfortable, put a 7 in the room. All right, and I appreciate you. How Shmar al Afad. And then if you can, take some time to send this out too. All right. Especially in the class, especially in the official class. All right, you can send it out both show. 5 hours ago, the Ring of Fire just appeared over the Antarctica sky. All right, 5 hours ago, this just happened. All right, a ring of fire appeared over the sky. Appeared in the sky over Antarctica. Here's what happened during today's what's called an annular solar eclipse. Now, this is what's so interesting. During the same time frame of us having new moon. Okay, during the same time frame of us having new moon, we also have what? A very beautiful eclipse. Now, why is this eclipse different? This eclipse is different because, as you can see, the moon. Now, this is a renderation. This is supposed to be a 4D, HD, 4K, elemental P um, visual of what the moon looks like. All right. So for those of you who know my family, I teach my family about the constellations if I can, if they listen, if I let me show them, and I'll tell them what they know, and that's for everyone. So the moon being that circular circumference that we just seen up there, I don't have to say it twice as like saying that square block shape, but the moon being in that shape as we see it to be, does this beautiful motion as the moon dances around the sky, which I should be able to pull up a video. As the moon dances around the sky and goes through what's called an ecliptical, which is a line that the moon follows going around Earth. So as it does that, what happens is the moon comes into a kind of like a shadow. Like if this was the moon and this was the sun, and my head is the Earth, right? Big head, big Earth, right? So as the sun is shining, no, my head is the sun. This is the Earth and this is the moon. So as the moon goes around, right, goes around like this, all right. So imagine this is the moon, this is the Earth, my head is the sun. My head is giving off light from every direction. The Earth is right here, and as the moon goes around the Earth like this is what causes an eclipse. Okay, now as the moon is going around, this line is called the ecliptical, and it's actually not just going around like this, it's going around like this. See, so it's called an ecliptical. So the moon has a tilt to it every time it goes around. So imagine it's just going around like this in a circle. Well, as it's going around, it's not just going around in a circle. Sometimes it goes further away and it comes closer in. See? It goes further away and closer in. All right. This is called apogee, and I gotta remember the other name of it, but apogee is one of the names. Apogee and perigee. One of them. Well, anywho, so long story short is this is the motion. Apogee means it gets closer to the Earth, and as it rotates, it gets further away from the Earth sometimes. So goes around not just like a regular circle, right? Not just like spinning around, but spinning around and at the same time, sometimes going further away and sometimes closer in. So as it does this, every now and then, when it comes closer in, it's just so close. The moon is just so close enough to the Earth to where the sun can still be seen, just the outline of it. Okay, so whenever eclipse happens, the eclipse actually stops in front of the sun. That doesn't stop, but as it's going around the sun, it's close enough in its apogee. I have to figure out the other word. And it's close enough to where it blocks the whole sun because it's not the same size as the sun. The moon is actually smaller, much smaller than the sun. The sun is much bigger. But as it's closer, it looks like it's, covering it, like my fingertip. My fingertips look really small from back here. And this is just, this is just displacement. So you have, from this perspective, all right, you have perspective displacement. From here, my finger looks pretty small, right? But as it gets closer, my finger looks bigger, bigger, bigger. It's not getting bigger. It's not getting bigger at all. It's just perception displacement. So with that being said, as the moon gets closer to the sun, as it goes around in an eclipse, it looks like it's covering the whole sun, but it's not, right? It's just shadowing. But as it's a little bit closer to the Earth, you can see a small circle of light still from the sun. Well, this is called an annular eclipse. Okay, so cool part about it is since it happens, it leaves this ring of light from the sun going around. Now, why is that important? That's very important because that leads us into our next thing. Our next thing we're going to learn about real quick is what's called coronagraphs. Okay, so if you talk about a picture, pictures really aren't called pictures, that's what they say, but they're actually photographs, right? So if you photograph, saying coronagraph, right? Photograph, coronagraph. So photograph is the capturing of the picture of light. So remember we used our analogy of my head being the sun and how my head gives off rays of light from every direction, right? And my finger just being the Earth, right? The tip of my finger, just this part, right? Just this part. Imagine all of this is invisible, right? So just this part being Earth. So again, and as the sun, the moon, this is our representation of the moon, as the moon is going around, right? So imagine how we talked about displacement, perception displacement. And as my finger gets closer, it looks bigger. Now, watch this. The same thing with the sun. Now, the sun staying where it is, but rotating at the same time. Staying still, but rotating around in every direction, like just round and round, right? As that happens, we notice that the sun looks different, but it's hard to tell that the sun looks different because you can't directly look at the sun, right? Right. All kind of scriptures for that. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be able to see not directly at the sun, but if you want to be able to look around the sun, what you can do is, and this is an experiment that anybody can do. You can just take something as small as a pencil, or an ink pen. And if you can get it just right, you can cover up your camera lens from your perspective. And you can do the same thing with the sun. And you have to be careful. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you'll be able to see the corona or the light going around it. Well, this is real quick. Let me read this to you, everybody. Just for those who have ears to hear. This website is super cool. And it's one of my friend websites, one of my fun websites I like to go to because I like to know things. All right. So it is new moon today. So Kadash Shalom. Happy new moon to everybody that's watching. If you're watching, there's a number of people that's on here. With that number of people that's on here, if you share out this video to that same number or however many people you know, then they'll have the blessing to be able to learn this too. I hope to be able to get through this. Praise the Most High. You know what I'm saying? I have some separation time. I don't enjoy my separation time from the children. But I do have time to be able to show you things, and that's a blessing because I like to teach. So here's what we were just looking at. What we're looking at right now, all right, is NOAA, all right, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, all right. So looking at Earth weather, Earth science, volcanoes, end sign times. I don't know why people don't talk about the end of the age, the end of the world enough. We're in it. So point of saying such is to say, knowing space weather. See, the government is not paying billions of dollars just to trick everybody into believing that the earth is flat. You can't get me on that one. You can't. I mean, I tried it, I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, well, is the earth flat? It doesn't seem to be flat to me, what I'm saying? Not just off perspective, but off science. So we're going to go into some of those things. All right. So since we do have a little bit of time, we're going to look at some of those perspectives of why do I say that the earth is not flat? Also, with it being new moon, how do we prove what today's lunar phase looks like? Just a couple quick and easy steps. Let's go here real quick. We'll go to the book of Amos. All right. This is the book of Amos. And I know you all have heard this. All right. I'm not throwing any shots at anybody. All right. If you are working today on the Kadash, please remember that one, you're covered in the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua. I don't want to teach nobody that grace is a license to sin because it's not. All right, all men have sinned and fallen short of glory of the Most High. I have sinned. I sinned every day. Today is Kadash. I did not mean to be as wicked as I am. Sometimes I make mistakes, and it's like, oh man. Ooh. Point of saying such as to say we try harder. All right. Do we neglect the law because of faith? God forbid. We establish the law. So today is new moon. All right. Keep it personal within you, and it'll be important because you don't want to be like this. All right. Amos chapter 8, verse 1. Thus hath Yahweh Elohim showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. Then said Yahweh unto me, the end is come upon my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them anymore. And the songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day. And that's terrifying in itself because the songs of the temple, we sang beautifully. We sing beautifully now. I really don't say I can sing because I don't think I can. I can hold a note. I can tone. I can sing like nasal singing. I can imitate Whitney Houston. I sound terrible. You know what I'm saying? I try to do all the notes that I shouldn't try to hit, right? Including, saying la 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 la. I try to do that, right? But the reality of it is that the Most High did put a gift inside of the Yeladim Yasha'Allah to be able to praise him. Therefore, our songs of praise, the Father this is a terrible threat that he accomplished. He said the songs of praise shall be howlings. Keep that in mind, Yasha'Allah. It's not all good, right? And this is because of our disobedience, but watch, it gets worse. And the sounds of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith Yahweh. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence, not even a care. Now, and I personally think that we're running into this time frame, even more so the time frame of Jacob's trouble, where we're seeing ICE and the government starting to attack, murder, and persecute the children of Israel. Remember, Christ was crucified during the feast of Passover. So every year we get closer to each Pesach, every Passover is another time frame of violence that we get closer to, and closer to the time frame of Yahushai's coming. If we didn't care, if the government, if the world, and remember, the person that was in charge of the world at that time, Caligula, you know what I'm saying, the emperor, you know, he was a madman. We have a madman in office now, already operating. There's a Donald Trump Bible. I yield the floor. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence, without care, right? Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail. And this is what they say. This is it. Verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? Now, for those of you who know I have my own personal things that I deal and operate with, and my own business is my own. I shut down business on the Shabbat. We all should. All men have sinned and fallen short of the glory of the Most High. If you have to help your brother, help your neighbor, do it on the Shabbat. Do good. Do good. It's good to do good. It's not good to do business, you know, to encourage others to do business. You really want to stay away from that, you know. And I'm not just going off of what I feel or what I think. I'm telling you based off what we study, what we read, what we practice. It's all right there in the scriptures. Then you can go into the oral tradition and you can find these things there also. All right. I don't go into every oral tradition, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't participate or support the Talmud. I don't. And the reason being is because of the disrespect of Yahushai HaMashiach. And apparently in the Talmud, it says Yahushai is in hell, boiling in excrement. He's in hell, boiling in boo-boo. So I don't support the teachings of the Talmud. It's not for me. So, you know, I just had to get that out there. Well, just for a second, you know what I'm saying? The whole, you know, but, you know, in oral tradition, you will see that we talk about these things. We know these things by customs that we've read, going back to what Moses taught us. Okay. So this is a very important thing, saying, when will the new moon be gone? I think a lot of Yashralim and a lot of Goyim want to keep the new moon. And a lot of Yashralim want to keep the new moon. It's just that we really don't know the details of when new moon is and what it looks like and what books actually talk to us about it. We just know the phrase new moon. And then a lot of times IUIC or, ISUPK or, you know, saying GMS or, you know, whoever, you know, one of the schools that's popularly known, you know, they'll do their individual breakdown. And I rock with Light of Zion. Light of Zion is one of the Light of Zion for Lauderdale, Florida. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody in Yashar have their own specific, you know, communities that they like. The reason why I like Light of Zion is because they stick to the script, you know what I'm saying? You know, and if there's a doctrine to be changed, they'll fix it, they'll correct it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what their stance is on everything, but I know when it comes to keeping the feast days, when it keeps to the calendars, they work off of, you know, the system that's been taught from times past that works. All right. So let's get back to this. The majority of the time when people look at new moon, they do this. So we got that pulled up real quick, right? So here's our verse. I took a couple steps forward. We'll take 2 steps back. All right, we come together because opposites attract. All right. So boom. Y'all don't know nothing about that song. All right. All right. With the little Tomcat dance in the alley. Y'all know nothing about that. All right. Paul Abdul. All right. Amos chapter 8, verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone that we may sell corn? We don't want to get into the mind state of new moon is going to be over soon, so therefore we can get the business. We don't want to get into that mind state because that mind state will hinder us, it'll harm us, it'll cause damage, right? So then, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat, making what? Making the ephah small and the shekel great. And falsifying the balances by deceit. So it's all about getting back to the worldly carnal things opposed to setting ourselves aside for Kadash or, you know, for the Shabbat. Those are the 2 main focus days right here, right? Now, since the majority of Yashralim really doesn't know how to calculate or look at the moon, I want to just give you an opportunity to hear a word from the island of Patmos, just from a cool little exile, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoos. If you like it, you can agree. If you don't like it, tell me. If you don't like it, disagree, and then tell me where I'm wrong. I ain't going to be like, oh, we can agree to disagree. No, tell me. And then I won't just agree to disagree with you. I'll show you, you know what I'm saying, to where, okay, I'm wrong, I'm incorrect on this, or I yield the floor and you're correct. All right, I gotta set this down. Yabaraka Yabashama Shaka Shalom.
What's going on, Ken? I'll just call him back. I'll call you back when I'm just getting up.
Okay, come. We on the worlds, man. We on YouTube if you want to rock with us. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
Kadash Shalom. Kadash Shalom.
Kadash Shalom.
All right. So you want to remember that, man. Send out those salutes, those salutations, those happy new moons, and all those good things to each other. Remind each other, encourage each other. Let's get down to this real quick. So IUIC and some other schools, I don't like IUIC's teaching on new moon at all. It's trash. It's hot water doo-doo. All right, watch this. IUIC new moon. IUIC new moon. Now, when you put in Google is one hell of a drug. Social media will deceive you. So this irritates me to the core because their imagery is beautiful, but their teaching on new moon is doo-doo. Watch this. Every time somebody goes to this blow up the trumpet new moon, right? Blow up trumpet new moon, you see this beautiful big full moon, and that's always going to catch our attention. Because even as children, the full moon, the moon, she was catching to our eyes. She was beautiful. Oh, there go mama moon, there go mama moon. She was something to look. And if you was like tough and if you was in the hood, you look up at the sky and you'd be like, I wonder why God said this. Why we got to grow up in such deplorable situations, looking up at the sky. But really in our head, we're like, man, that moon is so beautiful. You can't get away from the glory of the moon. You can't get away from the glory that the Most High made on this beautiful instrument. So when IUIC uses this in his teachings, it irks me to my core. Because these pictures are beautiful. Israelite community, friends, family, black people, light-skinned people. And then Luna. Whoa, there's the word Luna. Can we use it correctly? Let's look at Luna real quick. All right. Come over here with me. Interlunium Latin. All right, you should all be able to see this. Now, I just spoke the words, but what I'm also going to do is go through my own typing and, all the other stuff, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to see, I want to show everybody something real quick. Let's find a good one. I don't want to do, people stop right here, AI overview, and all of a sudden they are Chat GPT elders and masters. No, you're not going to get that over here, all right? I take the slow road, okay? I don't buy subscribers. I don't pay for my friends. Okay, you can't buy my friendship. It don't work like that, and I don't do fake stuff. I can't stand that. Like, so let's get to this real quick. All right, so let's go through a few of them that could be helpful. All right, interlunium. Here's our key word. I want everybody to notice. If you are a lover of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if you are a Christian, if you are a believer in Islam, you know what I'm saying. If you are, people that practice Islam believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob also. Don't disbelieve that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of believe in Mashiach. My point is saying such to say is whether Jew or Gentile, I want you to know this because it's very important. Our people, that are worshipers, we're shorthanded on it, and it sucks. It sucks that we're not shown. Let me get that off of the screen so y'all don't have to stare at that. All right. Check this out. Or we're shorthanded on it by people who either don't teach us or they don't want to go against the norm because, their teaching will be challenged or something like that, but that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to edify each other. This word right here that you see on your screen is the word INTER, lunium. You see that? Interlunium. So when we was back here on this page and I was like, man, can we use this word Luna? Now, can we use it the right way? The reason being is because Luna, right? Luna being moon, right? If that's correct for all my Latin or Spanish speakers, right? So the word interlunium, 2 words, right? Now, let's look at what it says. All right, I'm going to scroll this down just a tidget smidgen enough for us to be able to proceed. All right. All right. Change of moon. Time of new moon. Now, that just this one thing that means that ain't even one thing. That's just a small, that's a small thing. Let's go to Latadic Latin Dictionary. All right. All right. So we have the same thing. Frequency. I don't like these. I don't like these. All right. Now the word is there. It says time of new moon for interlunium. That's very cool, right? Time of new moon for the word interlunium should really, be like, oh, I grasp that. That's new moon, but it's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. When IUIC and the other Israelite community schools congregations teach that the full phase of the moon is new moon, it's grossly incorrect. It paints a iconoclastic type image in our head that what we actually see for the glory and the beauty of the moon is actually when the new moon phase is. All right, but let's go ahead and dispel that. Let's put that to bed real quick. And I want to say to everybody, Kadash Shalom. All right, let's look this up real quick. Let's go to another search. What time is new moon over Jerusalem? Really cool, fun, easy website, Phase of the Moon, if you would like to. All right. This is a fun and easy website. Today, lunar phase, 0.0% new moon. Now, I know some of you may say, but new moon is waxing crescents. New moon is the first sliver of the light, my brother. You can see the first curve and you can go outside, and it's like when a baby is born, the baby is inside the womb of the belly, and the baby, it ain't there, and it ain't until it's new, and when it's new, it's coming out the mother, and the head is crowning, and when you can see the first crown of the head is like the first crescent of the moon, and that's how you can tell when it's a new moon, because it's a new baby. Get out of here. Stop it. I can't believe people that are so educated fall for that madness. It blows my mind. I mean, you got a whole high school diploma, right? They'll say, no, actually, I have a master's. Actually, I've graduated at the top of my class in the Marines. Whatever. All wisdom is of the Lord. How about that? Is that fair? Check this out. It's so fun. I don't understand why it's missed so easily. So new moon is not just the first sliver. That's the ending phase of new moon. New moon actually starts at this phase right here that we see where there's no light. So the principle of interlunium of what we looked at, especially looking at what IUIC presented, all right, or is presenting, is totally incorrect. It's totally incorrect. All right. Let's go back to the scriptures real quick. The majority of the time people do this, be gone. We're over here in the book of Amos. All right. The people will say, here, let's make our screen a little bit. I got it on binocular man eyeball glasses mode. Right. I got it on big eyeball mode, right? So saying, when will here's the word right here, new moon. And so what people will usually do, they'll go here and they'll say, you see that? The word new moon is Hodesh, brother. Hodesh. How you pronounce that? No, it's Chadash. I'm sorry, this first character is Cha, this is Da, and that's Sha, Chadash. All right. And this right here is a little bit different because it says Ha Chadash. The only difference is it has the letter Ha at the front of it. So this verse right here says Ha Chadash, just like this word right here is, you see this is the new moon. You see that Ha at the front? That's this word right here. That's the at the front. So Ha Chadash. Let's look at this real quick. Now, what IUIC and some other communities did, which was, pretty sad to me, was, they went to where I believe it says first light or full moon or something like that. But let's see what it says right here. I'll stop talking about them. So here's the word Chadash. All right, we have Hebrew H 2320, right? That's the. Oh man, sorry, bro. I can't take it right now. My bad. All right. Kadash Shalom. No business on the Shabbat. My hands are full. Text me. I love you, Ak. My hands are full. Text me. No business on the Shabbat. All right. If you want the Most High to bless you even more than you might say, well, I'm already blessed. You want to bless you even more? Start keeping the holy convocation. Start keeping the feast days more. And another sad thing about the new moon is not a day for people to sit at home by themselves and just sit on their butts. You're supposed to be up on new moon. You're supposed to be dressed. You're supposed to be washed. You're supposed to have food in the air. You're supposed to have music playing. People are supposed to be dancing. Children are supposed to be playing. We're supposed to be praising the Most High. So these frankincense and myrrh. It's a bunch of selfish people, man. And it sucks so bad because Yahweh taught us how to praise and worship. We are the only nation that has so many parties, so many festivals. Not another nationality in the world has many feasts as the Elijah and Yahshua praising their God. There might be some that's like, well, we party every day, but not praising the God of Abraham, Isaac. We are the only nationality that's on the planet that has been ordained to worship him so many times, and once a month. He tells us to have a big party, and Negroes don't want to do it, but they'll go to a wedding, they'll go to a birthday party, they'll go to this party, go to that party, get all dressed up for it, but they won't go put on a best suit and tie, but they won't keep the Kadash. Not even so their children can celebrate together. Think about that. Think about that. That's the same mentality of saying, when will the new moon be over so we can get back to work? When will the new moon be over so we can get back to buying and selling and, going out to the... When will the new moon be over so a lot of people stop right here at the word Chadash or Chodesh, but let's just dig a little bit deeper, all right? Because we have to have more of a care, right? And you can get that if everybody... I breathe deeper when everybody's together. I can sigh, but that's just me. I think I'm surrounded by people who don't like being around people. And that sucks for me because I was raised in a family where everybody was in the same house, cousins, all kind of people, everybody was all together. So let's look at this, because as a nation, that's how we're supposed to be. The word Chadash, we see right here is used. Okay, so we see it used 254 times for the word month. Chadash is used for the word new moon 20 times. Chadash is used for the word month. Chadash. Once, and another for one time. All right. Now, let's see. We're going to play around with our Hebrew. All right. Now, this right here is called Gesenius Hebrew Chaldean Lexicon. And why is this so fun? This is so fun because what Gesenius wrote was more detailed. So, so let's read what Gesenius says. He says, for Chadash, he says, the new moon, the first day of the new moon, the first day of the new moon. All right. I want to tell you all something right now. You might say, how old is waxing crescent moon? Look at this, everybody. When you think of a new moon and you are shown this image of what's called a waxing crescent actually increases. It starts off really small with a very small sliver. The smallest, this is a good example. The very smallest sliver of the new moon that you can see is when we're just coming out. And imagine this darkness on this side. Imagine that is the shadow of the earth, and the moon is moving out of the earth's shadow every month. It's beautiful. So as she moves out, that very first sliver is when we also let people know, hey, listen, we're in Kadash, we're in a new month. But that sliver has a name. That sliver isn't called new moon, not worldwide. That sliver has a name. New moon in every language around the world goes back to being the dark moon. In Hindi, in Russian, in Arabic, in Negro. That would be Hebrew. What language? I speak Negro. What language is that? Hebrew. All right, now let's look at that. If I say that new moon, all right, let's say, blow the trumpet in the new moon. And that just reminded me, I got my shofar. I need to go blow a trumpet. All right. So now look at this image again. Okay. Now look at this. We have IUIC with that's Amalek and the crescent moon, and that's actually from the Talmud. So some might say, well, yeah, this crescent moon, but I can show you where that's from the Talmud. Let's see it from the Bible. Hold on. From the Bible, let's get Psalm chapter 81, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. So we have three different moons here. We have three different images or phases here. So look at this. This is crazy. So our first one that we have is IUIC. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. And look, right, they have the verse, blow the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed in our solemn feast day. Psalms chapter 81, verse 3, right? Now hold on, check this one out. Then you got Amalek blowing the shofar at the waxing crescent, at the first light. This phase is called waxing crescent. Listen, if you Google the phase waxing crescent moon, it's not going to come up new moon. There are 8 phases of every lunar phase. That's like you calling me the wrong name. So this is Amalek, and this we can find in the Talmud. All right, and I'll bring that up again because I was just looking at this morning. Now, let's look at the Bible's perspective of Psalms chapter 81 and when new moon is. And then let's read some fun books. Psalms chapter 81, verse 1. To the chief musician upon the Gittith, a psalm of Asaph, sing aloud unto Allahaya our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. And you know what's so funny? We'll go back to that. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. So let's go to this real quick. Now, we're not going to do what other people do. Now, earlier, if you all remember, we looked at this word right here. This word is chadash, right? Chadash. But last time it said ha-chadash. This time it says ba-chadash. Instead of the new moon, it says in new moon, right? So it's different in this one. Now, watch this. Look at this. Chadash. H2320 used a total of 276 times, right, in the following manner: month, new moon, monthly, month, another. The new moon, month, monthly, the first day of the month, the lunar month. Let's scroll down some more. We're going to open this up. We're going to read down. Now, we did this, but pay attention. The new moon, the day of the new moon, the calends of the lunar month, which was a festival of the ancient Hebrews. We're supposed to be keeping a feast day today. This is my feast. This is my feast. Thawadi Hawa, this is my feast. Thawadi Hawa, Bashar Mashak El Shah. Hallelujah. And I pray that you all have yours. Today is a cooking feast day, a cooking Shabbat. A lunar month, which is a festival of the ancient Hebrews. Here's the scriptures where we see we can keep it at. On the third calends of the third new moon, i.e., the first third of the lunar month. Now, shall the new moon devour them, i.e., shall they be destroyed at the time of the new moon? We shouldn't be. The new moon is the day of Shalom. A lunar month beginning at the new moon. And here's the verses where you can find it. Definition 3, Chodesh. Now, that's what the majority of people do. Let me help you with something. Don't say what new moon is, but ask, when is the time appointed for new moon? Watch this. New moon. In the new moon, in the time appointed, one line down. The word that's here is kasa. Kasa. Now, I know with your eyes, you're going to read this and say, kisi, kisi, kase, and that's fine. I want to let you know that the Paleo Hebrew pronunciation of this word is ka, sa, and ah. Ka, sa, and ah. Kasa. Now let's read down, because there's two definitions of kasa. You see this word kasa right here? You see this right here? This looks like kasa, but it's slightly different. You see that last character? That's a H. That's kasa. Kasa. This one is kasa. Kasa. Some people might say kasa-a. They're pronouncing the ah. You might be saying a different word. Kasa. I know what you're talking about. Are you talking about kasa? New moon? Okay. Appointed? Okay. Watch this. This is what IUIC did. They went down to appointed and said, it's right there, everybody. It's full moon. See, new moon is full moon. I hope somebody had an moment. I hope somebody somewhere was like, oh, that's the verse that IUIC uses to try to teach people new moon is full moon. I really need them to stop that, because their voice, sister gave a beautiful testimony of IUIC, and how they were traveling through the city when they was coming through. You know, people giving testimony of the ground shaking because they were stomping. And hallelujah, glory to Most High, Bashem HaShah. We expect that. I need them to do the same. Like I need to do the same in my speech. I need them to do the same with their teaching of this. When you stop right here and say full moon and somebody says case closed, that's poor scholarship. Somebody got lazy. Look at this. Remember I said that there's two meanings, not just two meanings. There's two words that are there. Now I want to show you this. Pay very close attention. It says kasa, kasa. Now we're going to stay on the same page right here. Full moon is where some people drop the ball at. We're going to go through each one. We're also going to show how it's not the sliver moon. It's not waxing crescent. And I hope we can get through this to a good time frame because all praise. So the word that's here is kasa'a. You see it, it says full moon. But watch. Scroll down. Remember when we first started this, I said, I want to introduce you all to a guy named Jacinius. Watch what Jacinius the elder says. Let's do something. How many years was Jacinius' writings before Strong's Concordance? All right, so published 1890. James, Jesse James. All right, born 1847. Died 1882. Writings, book of Jesse. No, you know what? I'm not asking about Jesse James. All right, let's try that again. Book of Jacinius. Ecclesiastical histories. All right. All right. All right, so I believe we have our answer. All right, Jacinius Hebrew Chaldean Lexicon was published in English. All right, now Jacinius is the older one, so this is 1846. All right, boom, Chaldean William Jacinius. So we have 1786. Okay, all right, and we have the Strong's Concordance 1890. So 1890, 1786, 1890. Okay. Looks like 44 years. All right, 44-year difference. So that's not too antiquitous. That's not too ancient. That's not too old. All right, the information is older. It's more accurate though. All right. So watch this. So when you're looking at the correct definition, and we're gonna verify this, okay? So we're looking at the correct definition of full moon and the time appointed, or new moon and the time appointed. Right here it says kasa'a, right? The full moon, right? According to Isabar Ali. All right. And concerning whom, and it tells you where to see preference, or it's a smaller Hebrew, German lexicon, and then there's the page that will be page, what's that, 18, is the first day of the full moon. Also, the whole time of the full moon, and is often used by Barhebeus and Ephraim Cyrus. The etymology is not clear to me, for it is not satisfactory. Now, watch this. Here's where the Hebrew comes into play. It is not satisfactory to say that it is so called from the whole moon being covered with light. So the elders say that doesn't make sense to me, that the Arab says it's about Ali, and his contemporary said it. He says it doesn't make sense to me. He says from the root, and look at this. Here's the Hebrew right here. All right, kasa'a, kasa, and kasah. He says verbs of covering are often applied in a sense of hiding and covering over, but never, as far as I know, to that of giving light. So the translation is incorrect. Not only is the translation incorrect, let me take that away. The translation is correct. You actually have two forms of being covered with light. You have plenilunium and you have interlunium. All right. So the word that's here we have for covered, for kasah, it means to cover, to hide, to conceal, to cover, right? To cover, to clothe, to cover, to conceal, to cover. All right, for protection. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. to cover one's self, to clothe oneself. Now, this is the root word, right? Properly, to plump, i.e., to fill up hollows. Implication, to cover, for clothing, for secrecy. Clad oneself, clothes, clothe, conceal, cover over, cover self, to flee, to hide, to overwhelm. And then we're told to compare with kashah. All right. Now, why? Because to be covered, to be clothed, all right, look at this, gorged with food. So that means to be completely clad. Now, watch this. The issue is that the teaching is that it's covered with light. The word kasah, to cover, to hide, cover over, it says what? To put on, hence to be hidden, concealed. It is only found in part. So the word kasah right here is to cover, which is the root word for kasa'ah. So the teacher says verbs of covering are often applied in the sense of hiding and covering over, but never, as far as I know, to that of giving light. So I see why IUIC says that, because when you read it and you stop right there, it says full moon. But what they don't tell you is that there's 2 full moons. Sound strange? Let me prove it. Phases of the moon. Now, why do we say that there's 2 full moons? Because you have to know what the moon is actually full of. That's the trick. You have to know what the moon is full of. Is the moon slightly lit? Is the moon halfway lit? Or is the moon slightly dark? Is the moon halfway dark? Or is the moon full of light? Or is the moon full of dark? So you have 2 words that are there. This will be the word kasa'ah. This will be the word kasah. Now, as the moon goes through its course, this is full moon, as you see. This will be full of light. This is new moon over here. This is full moon, full of light. This is the 15-day-old moon. This will be the day of conception, new moon, or as some women might call it, the spark of life. When you first feel, ooh, I think I'm pregnant. I think I'm pregnant. Yeah, you've been about, 2 minutes pregnant. You've been about pregnant 2 minutes. Okay. So that time frame at new moon and the spark of life starts at no light being there. Even when you're covered in conception, you're in your mother's womb, you're alive. You don't have to wait to the first crowning of the head to be new moon to be seen. Because why? That's actually called waxing crescent. If you don't believe me, let me prove it to you in another language. We're going to go over here real quick, and I want to show you all something. Now, first of all, learning the 8 lunar phases are very important. There's only 8 phases. And as the moon goes around her orbit, all right, along her ecliptical line, which is just the line that she follows around Earth, sometimes that line wobbles out, sometimes that line wobbles in. And know this, it is not true that we can only see half of the moon. From Earth's perspective, looking down, you can only see one side of the moon. But it's not only 50%. You can actually tell that it's a sphere because you can see the top. I want you all to see this. At the top of the moon, you can see, and at the bottom of the moon, you can see, there's curvature at the top and at the bottom. All right, which actually proves that the Earth is a sphere and that the moon is a sphere. But let's stop right there. I want to get to this real quick. Let me show you this real quick. This is coronagraph. So we're looking at coronagraphs. All right. Now, if you want to look at the sun and check out, the coronal mass ejections that's being shot out to the Earth, you have to be able to block it. Okay, you have to be able to block the sun with something, and that's what this camera does. So if you don't know what you're looking at, check out this image in the middle. Okay. Now, in the middle, you have a dot. You see this dot? You see this little dot right here, right? I know you all see it, right? This little dot. This dot is like if you take a little spot and put it like over your eyeball, and everywhere you look, that spot covers everywhere you look. That's the same thing with a camera that's a telescope that's actually used to block out portions of the sun. So you can't look directly at the sun, but we can look at what these lights that are coming from outside of the sun. So let's go from left to right. Okay, as we go from left to right, what you're looking at are called, it's the same picture, it's just in different spectrums. This is a coronal mass ejections, right? So this is a very small, it's a huge blast. And as you look, this blast gets bigger the further over to the right it goes. This is what the sun is doing. Now you can't see this center spot because it's the spot to actually protect us from viewing the sun so we don't hurt our eyes and so the camera doesn't get destroyed. But this is where the sun would be, in perspective. This is where the sun would be in each one. So these lights that shooting out from it are the boom, the blasts that are coming out from the sun. Okay. Now, why is that important? That's very important because those coronal mass ejections not only affect Earth weather, but they also affect, you might have an issue with this, you might not believe me, but the hey man, I've been called everything under the book, man. And so far, man, I might get called a new one. I don't know. All right, I might get called a new one. I've been called a diviner of times, just because I like to study, the stars, constellation, along with the Bible, etc. But it also does affect, our behavior on Earth. Okay. Now, if you're paying attention, what we're looking at now is this is called, as you see, on the heavens. Okay. So this chapter right here is chapter 6. Okay. And concerning the heavens. Whenever we're talking about solar and such, you have to be able to go and look back at Flavius Josephus. You have to look back at the philosophers. You have to go back and look at the early church fathers and see what they said. Because if you don't, you're going to miss a lot of things that are right in front of you. All right. Now, this chapter is, as you see, it's called Concerning Light, Fire, the Luminaries, Sun, Moon, and Stars. So today we're looking at moon. All right. If you want to come back and get the rest of the information, it's excellent. If you want to learn about the planets and how planets are a biblical concept that Hebrews knew about, that the world knew about, you got some Israelites today and some, people just don't believe in the planets because they believe the earth is flat. How do you not believe in planets? That's so weird. Here's a list of constellations. Okay. Now this is a Hebrew book. This isn't, I'm not leading you into, something off, some witchcraft, some foolery. This is teaching you science from the biblical perspective. All right. Now watch this. Now, coming down just a little bit, we're going to see this really cool word that's here. All right. And this cool word is called zodiac. Right. Now, let me scroll down just a little bit. This is all the section we're going to need. All right. Watch this. The zodiac, the circle of the zodiac has an oblique motion and is divided into 12 sections called zodiac. Now, we already know that number 12 is very important, right? 12 months in a year, 12 minutes in an hour, what I'm saying? They say, that number 12 tribes, that 12 is everywhere, right? So pay attention to this word zodiac because you might not have known this is in the Bible. I'm going to show you, okay? All right, if you don't believe me, ask me, I'll show you. So the circle of the zodiac has an oblique motion and is divided into 12 sections called zodiac or signs. Each sign has 3 divisions of 10 each, i.e. 30 divisions. And each division has 36-minute subdivisions. The heaven, therefore, has 365 degrees, the hemisphere above the earth and that below the earth, each having 180 degrees. Now, I know some people might not get that. 180 degrees, half, boom, turn around. Half the other way, turn around. You put that together, you got 360. Is that right? Is that correct math? I'm asking. I'm asking. 365. 365 degrees. So I'm asking. Help me out. The point of saying such is to say is the math is right here that shows you that the earth is a sphere. Our early church fathers know it. And also, in case you didn't know, you just heard something that's mentioned in the book of Flavius Josephus. Let's get this real quick. All right. Let's open up a new window. Flavius Josephus on the menorah. Today's a feast day. Kadash Shalom. I'm going to enjoy my... Okay. Now, I'm going to do this overview. Don't hold it against me, everybody. All right. We're going to open up that window. All right. Ashar Kanaka. Happy Hanukkah. Man, when internet fails you, man, your books sure will not. All right. So menorah branches. There we go. This should be a good one. And the reason why this should be a good one is because I have it documented in my book, which I encourage you all to get a Flavius Josephus. And once you do, you can take time to edify yourselves. You'll learn so much more. Check this out. All right. Exodus chapter 25, verse 31. All right, describes God's command to Moses construct a golden lampstand, which is called in history as the lampstand, but we know it as a menorah for the tabernacle, right? And you should make a lampstand of pure gold, and the base and the shaft of the lampstand shall be made of hammered work. Its cups, its bulbs, and its flowers shall be of one piece with it. All right. So real quick, hold that thought. For those of you who don't know or not familiar with this, this is called the menorah. All right. We're going to stick with what Josephus tells us. And I want to show you all an image, but I also I gotta go get my book. Man. So here, let's do it like this. Flavius Josephus menorah deck, and I gotta get this for you because you're gonna enjoy it. All right. All right. The menorah on the Ark of Titus. All right. The menorah on the Ark of Titus. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Let me give you something to look at while I research this. All right. So the menorah on the Ark of Titus, as we were being led away, which was a terrible event. 70 AD, we were ransacked by Esau. Saying our twin brother, man, and other nations. They helped carry us out, and it was just treachery. It's terrible. And as we were being led away and carried out, as we was being led away and carried out, a description and image was made on a huge arch, which is so crazy because that's what Donald Trump is doing. And that huge arch has an emblem of the Israelites being sold in slavery, and also the Ark of the Covenant being led, the menorah being led away too. And it's really heartbreaking, man. I got to get that in the book. I'm not going to do it right now. I got to get that in the book. All right, so the circle of the zodiac being in oblique motion. Job chapter 38. All right, let me get that real quick. Job 38, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. And we're going to get one more word that's here. All right. Share this tab. Here's the word Maseroth, okay? Now, the word Maseroth, it sounds different, I know, all right? But the reality of it is, this is a word that you have to know because you're supposed to be a part of what your forefathers practiced. All right, these are your customs. All right, here. Some things can be turned into perversions, but not everything can be perverted because the Most High is just so steadfast. All right, we're gonna go to the book of Job, chapter 38 and verse 23. Job chapter 38, verse 23. All right. Job chapter 38. Now, this is when the Most High is questioning Job, and he's really coming down on Job's head because, they're having this conversation. Allahaya, he had to present himself. Now, a few things that's in here is so beautiful because there's zodiac in here. Right here in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 31 and 32, the word zodiac is in here. Can you find it? If you was reading this and you was like going through this, is there any words that stands out to you? All right. Any words that sounds new? Here, for those that's listening. Job chapter 38, verse 31, and it reads, can you bind the sweet influences of Pleiades? In case you don't know what Pleiades is, Pleiades are the 7 stars that's in the tail of Taurus the bull. You see Taurus the bull in the night western sky, western sky, whenever you look up, Taurus the bull would be under the left foot of Orion. All right, Orion, he'll have his arrow facing up. Taurus the bull, his head, the triangle will be at the bottom left foot of Orion. And if you go back and look up, you'll see 7 constellations, 7 lights that are in the sky. It looks like a Dragon Ball. Pleiades is beautiful in a clear night sky, but you also find Pleiades is beautiful right here in the Bible. The constellation Pleiades is right here in the Bible. Or it loops the sweet band of Orion. Orion, you mean the 3-belt guy with the 2 shoulders and he's up in the sky and the guy doing like this? Yeah, that same constellation, Orion. So now we have Taurus the bull right here in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 31. We have the constellation Orion right here in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 31. All right. And I like to screen share and show people things because I like to know things. So if you don't believe me, we just want to go off word. Let's not do that. Let's go right here. Let's go to Hebrew. We're going to go to our interlinear. I got the free time and liberty to speak at my own leisure. So if you don't like it, you can learn to love it. Okay. That's all you can do. Learn to love it. All right. This is what we're doing. All right. So Pleiades. Okay. Kayamah. I might name one of my children Kayamah. Kayamah, Pleiades. Kayamah. What is Pleiades? Kayamah. Cluster of stars, i.e. the Pleiades constellation. A cluster of stars. Uh-oh. Yeah. Pleiades, a cluster of stars, Salakia. Nope, no business on Shabbat. No, I shouldn't even have read that text message. They're just gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. Ain't nothing gonna happen. They're gonna be okay. All right. So Kayama, cluster of stars, i.e. the Pleiades. Look at this, the 7 stars, right? So we're not gonna go too much into this breakdown because it's already there, but I will do this for you because I think you'll like it. I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna take Pleiades and the constellation of 7 stars. I'm gonna go back one screen over here. I'm going to come over to this window. I'm going to drop that little nugget right here in this window. You see where it says Maseroth? Remember, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at Zodiac. All right. And this is going to lead us all the way up into New Moon. This is what Pleiades is, or at least the image or images of Pleiades. This is the situationing. This is the situationing of those 7 stars that's in the tail of Taurus the bull. Completely beautiful. Here, let's use this image right here. All right, let's visit this page. All right, Mysteries of the Stars, Pleiades. All right. So you should be able to see this. All right, let's start a screen share. Boom. All right, so Mysteries of the Stars, Pleiades. Now, right here, okay. All right, so we see the sky chart. All right, but if you don't know what that means, it's okay. It took me a while too, and I'm still learning. This is what you look when you see in the sky. You're going to see Orion's belt, right? You're going to see the character Orion, and it doesn't have to be exactly like what this looks like as far as the helmet and the legs, but the constellations in the sky are going to look like that. And then directly across from Orion's belt, you're going to see the head of Taurus the bull, and in the back of Taurus the bull, Pleiades, just like in the Bible. Isn't that something? Just like in the Bible, the book of Pleiades, the book of Job, the constellation Pleiades is right there. The sweet influences of Pleiades. Orion, you see that? Orion, you see that? Now let's go up one more because the Most High is really good. All right. Now, here's the word that we want to get. We want to get the word Maseroth. See? All right. And we're going to open up our tools, our interlinear. It's so crazy when you show somebody something, then they got it over you, and then they try to master you, and they become jerks to you because they know how to do something. Or they know how to change a tire, so they become jerks. I guess so weird. I just thought about that because So here's the word Maseroth, right? So H4216, right? Maseroth, right? Maseroth. All right, Matazaraf. Matzarawaf. All right. So here's the word Mazaraf and Matzarawaf. Look at it. It's right here. The 12 signs of the zodiac and their 38 associated constellations. That is so cool. Right there in the Bible the whole time. Right there in the Bible the whole time. Why is that important? You have to be able to know that. So you, whenever you're studying, you're researching, whenever people show you stuff, you're just not easily deceived or, saying kind of, like, well, I was shown that. And it's okay to be like that. Well, hey, I was shown that, and this is what I think, and this is what I think for now. You know what I'm saying? But we have to know whenever we're learning about new moon, what the elders said was that, look right here, verbs of covering are often applied in the sense of hiding and covering over, but never, as far as I know, to that of giving light. All right. So now let's look at new moon. And do I have it? I do. I think I have it. Oh, I do have it. Yeah, how are you? Oh. So, excuse me, yes. I just had some breakfast crumbs. Let's go over here real quick. All right. Now watch this. The circle of the zodiac has an oblique motion and is divided into 12 sections called the zodiac or signs. Each sign has 3 divisions of 10, each, i.e. 30 divisions. Now, Flavius Josephus breaks down how the menorah is broken down into different sections. He says the same thing right here also. All right, and he says abodes of the planets. Now, watch this. The planets, their altitudes, the phases of the moon. I want to find something out real quick. All right. All right. I'm going to look up something real quick. Bear with me, everybody. I just want to look something up real quick. All right. I'm going to use that. And okay. Now watch this. Phase of the moon. It is in conjunction whenever it is the same degree of the sun. What does that mean? The moon is in conjunction when it is the same degree as the sun. What does conjunction of the sun and the moon mean? It means that they're lined up. So let me show you. Here's some images. Moon and sun and moon conjunctions, or when they meet up, okay? Conjunction is another word for eclipse or another word for new moon. Conjunction means they're in line with each other, okay? So that's what the word conjunction means, all right? Astronomical phrase, astronomical terms. If something is in conjunction, it is lined up, just like a train. Conjunction, junction, what's your function, all right? You have 2 things that are put together. So the sun and the moon, when they are in conjunction, right? So it is in conjunction whenever it is the same degree as the sun. Now watch this. It is born when it is 15 degrees distant from the sun. It rises when it is crescent shaped. And this occurs twice, at which times it is 60 degrees distant from the sun. It is half full twice. What does that mean? The moon is half full twice. Well, you have 2 phases, which is called one first quarter, and then you have last quarter. So first quarter is when you have the first phase of just half light moon, right? It looks like the letter D. Phases of the moon in detail. It kind of looks like the half letter D. So now let's take time and let's look at the 8 phases of the moon. There's only 8. Now watch what this antiquitous writing tells us about it. And I also want to go up and I also want to see, how many, let me go ahead and change this because I don't want no smoke. If they be like, oh, that's our music, we was playing it out of permission. We just trying to teach and listen. That's cool. So we don't want to write something. All right. So let's get back to it real quick. So let's look at this. This is where we are over here. All right. See this phase of the moon? Okay. All All right. So what you should be seeing is a white image of 8 lunar phases. It's a white image of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you look at it, the first phase is new moon, dark moon all the way through. Waxing crescent, you start to see the first sliver, looks like a fingernail. But then you have first quarter. See this? First quarter. Waxing gibbous. Full moon. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 3 phases that are coming on with light, 3 phases that are going off with light, and 2 phases that are the same, except for one is full of darkness and one is full of light. So interlunium is the name for new moon. Interlunium. Plentilunium is the name for full moon. Plenty light, plenty of illumination, plentilunium. Interlunium in between 2 lights, right? So what we're reading right now is first quarter and last quarter. Now look at this right here. Look at the screen. New moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent. It's going to be the same on all of these charts. That order doesn't change on all of these charts. And people who attempt to make waxing crescent new moon are omitting new moon totally together. The lunar phase to where she's in conjunction or in syzygy lined up with the sun. And it's because of the teachings or it's because of we're still learning. But I don't want you all, I don't want me to be one of these types of people who are only teaching half truths, omitting information, and expecting everybody to just go off of what we said because I said so. Happy new moon, and I'll show you a picture of full moon. That's ridiculous. Happy new moon, everybody. You know how many people get on there and be like, oh, wow, look at the picture of the big red moon. It's new moon. No, it's not. I get on here and I put up this picture. Wow, look at that. You see that? That first sliver? That's new moon. Happy new moon, everybody. Oh, they like Kadash Salam. No, it's not. That's waxing crescents. So it's not too incredibly hard to see. It can be challenging to just sit back and memorize them. Okay. So here we have it. New moon, there's 8 phases. New moon, waxing crescent moon, first quarter moon, waxing gibbous, and then over here you have the 15th day old, which is full moon, right? So from full moon, we have waning gibbous. She's losing her light. Third quarter, waning crescent, back to new moon. Now we're going to keep this image up because I think we're going to use it again. All right, as we get back to our reading. All right, so I want to be able to give y'all some supportium. I want to be able to give you some books. Okay, so check this out. Let's close that down. I'm going to close this window down. I think I found what I wanted. We got a whole bunch of windows I think we can close down. Yeah, let's close that one down. All right. So it's very important to learn and to know the lunar phases. Again, I don't agree with IURC's teaching on full moon being new moon because, you know, it's just not what we see in science, so it's not what we see also in the Bible, in the books. All right. So again, let's get back to this. Phases of the moon. And I'm going to copy and paste this so you all can have it too. Preferably get this to somebody IUIC. You know what I'm saying? They already did a Wednesday video on me. They did something, talk about something Wednesday video. Fix your face Wednesday. I was like, oh, for real? Fix my face on what? On how bad y'all doctrine is? Yeah, fix my face to speak against it. All right, until we fix ourselves, right? So this is what we're looking at. Phase of the moon, i.e. is in conjunction when it's in the same degree as the sun. It is born when it's 15 degrees distant from the sun. It rises when it's crescent shape, and this occurs. Hey, Shalom, Department of Corrections in the building, man. That's what we're doing. We're correcting it. This occurs, Yaikwab. Salute to you, Saint. This occurs twice when it's 6 degrees distant from the sun, when it's half full twice. It is 9 degrees from the sun. Twice it is gibbous when it is 180 degrees from the sun. It is twice full, giving full light when it is 150 degrees from the sun. It is complete moon when it is 180 degrees distant from the sun. So complete moon. Let's play with that word right here. Let's say something real quick. See, I didn't want to ask that question verbally. I want to see the answer before I type it in. Okay. All right. Wow. This is beautiful. Now I want to share with y'all what I found. And I know some may say, now I'm not going to deal with NASA right now. I know some may say that the word NASA means deceive, but I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. In Hebrew, the word NASA doesn't mean deceive. It means to smell or to taste or to try. You know, nasha. You have nasa and nasha, all right? But it's a whole different word for deceive. So when people say that, you know, it's cool, but it's not really what it means. All right, so check this out. This is what we're currently going through and looking at. So this is the ecliptical line that the moon goes through. You see how the moon kind of swerves and goes around the earth, kind of like a figure eight like that, right? So these are the name of the phase of the moon. You have new when it's dark, waxing when it's crescent, all the way through. First quarter when it's half light. First quarter, first half. Waxing gibbous is waxing in light, like if you look down on a man, he's got the hairline. Like you're a man looking down, boom. His hairline is receding. His hairline way back. You got Jefferson, and then he's full moon. All right. And you have waning gibbous. You see the light. The light is starting to decrease because there's more darkness coming. That's last quarter, waning crescent, and then new. Okay. So let's read this real quick. Oh, actually, we just read that and copied that. Now, the reason why we did that is because if you understand degrees, if you understand, you know, the phase of the moon, then this right here, this one passage is something that helps to specifically show you when new moon is. What does new moon look like? When is its lunar phase? Outside from us just reading in the book of Psalms, we just seen that it is the time frame of covering. But as the teacher said, never have I seen that of giving light. Okay. So new moon pertains to full moon. Yes, it is plentilunium. That means it's plenty of light. That's full of light. But it's not the new moon as far as the interlunium moon. Now, if the Most High was saying blow the trumpet in the full moon, I'm gonna have to go back and be like, okay, by here, guess what, y'all? It's full. But as far as we've seen, it's not waxing crescent. All right. As far as what we've seen in science, it's not new moon. It's not full moon. Okay. Let's scroll down just a little bit. So we want to go to Earth and its parts, cosmos and its parts. You see this section right here? We're going to go to cosmos and its parts. Okay. Let's scroll down. Now we're in a whole different book. This book is called Isidore of Seville's Etymologies. Okay. And these books are smarter than us. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might not like you because of the type of research you do. What sense does that make? How about you challenge and test the research opposed to challenge and testing the person? Look at this. World, de mundo. All right. You know what that means? That means in motion, right? The world is in motion. So this is a clear indicator that the earth is a sphere and that it's not flat. Just by the title of itself, Aratzaza, orbis, earth, orb, earth, right? The world consists of sky and land and the sea and the creation of God within them. Whence it is said, John 1:10, and the world was made by him. World, mundus, is named thus in Latin by the philosophers because of its eternal motion, or motus, or motus, right? All right, so we're going to scroll down a little bit. This goes into teaching people about the firmament. People don't know about the firmament. All right, we learned that the firmament is a sphere. The firmament is a sphere, the same shape as the earth. We learn about the circles of heaven. We learn about thunder. Isn't that interesting? Would you like to learn about thunder? Would you like to learn about air and the clouds? Would you like to learn about lightning, right? From an ancient perspective, would you like to learn about rainbow and the phenomenon of the clouds? See, and then when they drop their jewels, like in these books, they don't just tell you about, you know, the phenomenon of the clouds. You know what? Actually, I should say that because that probably goes into chariots, you know, because a lot of times they'll drop secret jewels or hidden jewels inside their message, you know, like they'll talk about the clouds and then, you know, how the clouds often take forms or other things take forms of the clouds, or how you'll find rocks and the rocks are actually minerals or they're metals or they're, you know, rocks that you can put in water and catch the water on fire. It's like, yo, I didn't even know that, right? So let's scroll down a little bit more. Let's keep going. All right, lakes, pools, the abyss, All right, this is rivers. None of this is boring. I'm not Trump. You know, Trump be like, it's really boring stuff. This is not boring. All right. You know what I'm saying? It's like when a kid get caught doing something, they be like, don't look. No, we don't look. All right. So this is teaching us the nature of floods. All right. And where are we at, Paige? Are you not loading for us anymore? All right. The heaven and its parts. All right. The terrain. All right. So if you want to know more about Genesis chapter 10 and the table of nations and the worlds of the, that lived at that time, this is an excellent book. All right. Look, check this out. The city of Philistius, the capital of province of what? Palestine, is now called Ascalon. From the city, all of its surrounding regions receive that name, Palestine. Did you know that? East of it lies the Red Sea. On the southern side, it is bordered by Judea. Whoa, man! The archaeology in this mug is amazing. The astronomical section in this book is phenomenal too. All right, so let's see. Let's see. I'm going to pull up a few more things, and then I'm going to yield the floor. Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. Your father Abraham taught astronomy. You see that word right there? So don't let anybody teach you to be afraid of the learning of the constellations, of the stars, of the heaven. You know, again, I don't know if you all know what a prognosticator of times is, but a prognosticator of times is basically like a man witch, like a warlock. You know what I'm saying? And when the brother called me a prognosticator of times, like, I was hurt to my core, man. I was hurt. I was like, damn, bro, that's what you think about me. And at the time, I didn't know, like, yeah, that's what I think about you. At the time, I didn't know that about him, but as time went past, I was like, oh yeah, you really do think like that. But you are not and will not be a prognosticator of times if you take time to actually learn the constellations. All right. So Hamashiach tells us we can tell when storms are coming, but how can we not see the coming of man? So we're supposed to know these things. All right. Parts of the sky. Okay. Palestine, Judea. Right. That's funny. That's interesting, right? The same book. All right. The earth and its parts. Golden stream. Greek's land. All right. The oceans, the winds, lightning, parts of the sky, atoms, the sky. The various parts of the sky. Okay, so we're going to go to section 5 on that. All right, so sky, parts of the sky, various parts of the sky. All right. So let me read this to you. So this is the same book, the same so far as you can see, it's a little bit tattered. All right, so watch this. Section 5, Isidore Seville's etymologies. The parts of the sky. All right, ether is where the stars are. It signifies the fire which is separated on high from the whole world. Excuse me. Certainly, ether is itself an element, and etheria is sky. Is the splendor of the etheria, and the Greek word. The sphere of the sky is named spheria because that's SPHAERA, because it was formed in a round shape. Anything similar, for example, the ball with children play are called spheria or sphere by the Greek from its form, whirling and motion. Philosophers say that the sky is in the shape of a sphere, convex on all sides, and at all sides equal in mass. It encloses the earth, balanced on all the middle of the world. They say this moves, and with its movements, the stars are fixed on it, all go around from east to west. Northern stars move in shorter courses near the poles. Then we go into the the Sky Vault. Like this isn't a fantasy mixed up mystery book. So we're reading Isidore of Seville's etymologies, learning about that the Most High, he not only made the sphere of the earth, but he also made the moon and the moon's precision. All right, now we're going to go to another book. And as you see, Abraham, he taught the Egyptians. And if you didn't know that, if you thought Egypt was a world great power and no nation was greater than Egypt and dippity blappity bloop, well, let me tell you something. There was a teacher that was in Egypt that was greater than the Egyptians, and his name was Abraham. All right. So look at this real quick. For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised one another's sacred and accustomed rites, and were very angry one with another on that account, Abraham conferred with each of them, and confuting the reasonings they made use of, every one of their own practices. So Abraham was the master at debating doctrines. He was cutting the Egyptians, demonstrating that such reasonings, their reasonings, were vain and void of truth, whereon he was admired in those conferences as a very wise man and one of great sagacity when he discoursed on any subject he undertook. And this not only in understanding it, but in persuading other men also to assent to him. He communicated to them arithmetic. He also delivered to them the science of astronomy. For before Abraham came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of learning. For that science came from the Chaldeans into Egypt, and from thence to the Greeks also. Now look at this. This is the book, right, that we're reading from. This book is called Isidore of Seville's Etymologies. All right. In this book right here, Isidore of Seville's Etymologies, is going to show you something very important, very powerful. I want you to check this out. All right. Look at this. Now, I'm not making this up. All right. Look at this. Can y'all see that? Screenshot that. You see what that say? Hold on. The Most High's will, man. I get a better camera, man. I kind of got a little play school computer camera, but Father allows, provides. You know what I'm saying? All right. I think that might be a little bit better. What y'all think? What do you think about that? You see that? You see what that word is? Everywhere in here? You see that word sphere? Everywhere? I remember when I was going in on my mashpachah, my brethren, and I was teaching like the earth is not flat, man. That's ridiculous, man. Look, here's the little. It was fun to do, but it was also a good study for me. So it's fun to do, but it was also a good study for me. And here's something that really helped. Once I read it in the book, Reading Rainbow. Let's read. The sight of the celestial sphere. We're going to get into new moon because he describes the lunar phases also. Just like we just read, we just described them. So watch this. The sight of the celestial sphere. The sphere of the sky is formed in a rounded shape. Its center is the earth, enclosing equally on all sides. They say this sphere has no beginning or end, like a circle. It is not easily perceived where it begins or where it ends. The philosophers introduced 7 heavenly regions of the world, that is, the planets. With the concordant motion of their globes, they mention that all are connected in their orbits, which are the thoughts to be intertwined, and they be turned backwards and to be carried from the opposite side of the motion of the other planets. You see this section? This is called the motion of that sphere. You see this? The course of that sphere. When we're talking about the sun, the moon, the earth, the stars, the Most High did not make the hemisphere flat, and he made everything else round. He didn't make 2 things round and made everything else flat. I want to show you this because this is where we have to bring it to a head. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. I want you to take a picture of this. I want you to screenshot this if you can. The homework has already been done for you. Information has been provided. Okay. I'm going to read this top part, and you can see it for yourself. This says new moon, interlunium. Full moon, plenilunium. Shapes of the moon. The first shape of the moon is double horned. The second is cleft. The third half. The fourth full. The fifth again half on the of the larger. The sixth again cleft. The seventh double horned. Excuse me. The seventh and 22nd are the middle of the orbit. The others are in proportion. The interlunium period. The interlunium is the time between the waning and waxing period. It is the 13th day when the moon does not shine. It cannot be seen because it is obscured by the conjunction with the sun. Gradually waxing again, she recedes from the sun and is seen. This is the historical description of new moon. I don't know where these Negroes be getting their stuff from, but you can't one wham, foo fam, and finagle me with some click bait images. Let me read that again. The interlunium is the time between waning and waxing moon. It is the 30th day. 30th day. I might say the interlunar is the 30th day. When the moon does not shine, it cannot be seen because it is obscured in conjunction with the sun. Gradually waxing again, it recedes from the sun and is seen. The moon moderates the month's lengths by the changes of light given off and received. Therefore, it goes in an oblique course, not straight like the sun. It does not fall into the center of the earth and have to frequent eclipse. Its circuit is near the earth, waxing. It looks east with its horns, waning. It looks west. Justly so, for it is about to set and lose its light. This is Isidore Seville's etymologies. If you want to know what new moon is called throughout antiquitous times, then you can start with antiquity writers. You can start with the forefathers who were of the Christian walk, which I'm a Christian. I know some people have a problem with that terminology. I believe in being covered in the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua, being smeared, being anointed. I believe in that. I believe in being under his covenant. I believe in being a Christian. And first of all, Yasha Allah Banya Yasha Allah, which they say Hebrew Israelites. I am Yasha Allah Banya Yasha. All of the early church fathers who wrote in perspective for us to learn how to keep the lunar convocational days, they wrote for them, not that their works could be thrown away, but they wrote for them that we go back and read them now. Not only read them now, but teach others. Everything can be certainly answered. I believe some things take more time than others. If you have any questions about the lunar phases, about the zodiac, about the moon and, her course, I'm going to encourage you today. I'm going to say, keep new moon. If you already, you might already, been to the store, you might already work, you might already have sex, you might already masturbate, you might already been unclean, you might already, did something you didn't mean to. Just, all right, well, grace, ask the Most High to help you, sharpen you up. Okay. And then that way, the next month that comes around, what you'll be able to do is keep that one better. Start doing your schedule now. Start doing your time frame now. I can't make it in. It's going to be new moon next month. I'm not going to be able. And the closer we get to Pesach, the closer we get to Passover, the more you'll be able to document your new moons, especially if you start now. Today is the day that you start your ephemeris. Today is the day that you start writing down. If you wrote down your calendar and schedule other things, write today's date down. and count the number of days up until when the Most High said to have Passover. That's wrong. You can do it.